You handed your agent the whole knowledge base to make it smarter. It got slower and dumber. The window was never too small. You overstuffed it. Welcome to the Atlas. You shipped an agent that got worse the more you fed it, and it isn't your prompt, it's the pile. Here's the loop that fixes it. One symptom, an assistant that gets worse the more you cram in. Pour the whole library into the prompt to be helpful, and it slows down, it hedges, it forgets the one detail you handed it. You don't cure that by buying a bigger window. You cure it by refusing to pre-fill the window at all. And that refusal is the entire episode. But first, pocket one question, because we'll answer it twice. Who wrote the paper behind the technique this library is built on? It needs 2 hops, name the technique, then name its author. Hang on to it. Give that 2-hop question to the obvious setup, a single assistant, the entire library, 40 documents, jammed into the prompt up front, so it supposedly has all it needs. See what happens. It's all sitting in there. The technique, the paper, the author, somewhere across those 40 docs. But it has to find the technique first, then trace from there to the author, hunting across a sprawling, noisy prompt where the pieces it wants sit, buried among lookalikes that tug it sideways. So the reasoning thread phrase. It gropes, loses the trail, churns through tokens, and shrugs back a non-answer. This is the price of front-loading, made concrete. Cramming it all in didn't hand the assistant more to work with. It handed it more to get lost in. Identical question, identical docs. The single thing will change is when it reads them. The engine that decides has a name, and it's the whole point of this episode. The assistant doesn't fetch one time and pray. It runs a loop. It reasons, it acts, it observes, and it reasons over again. Reason and act. React. Here's the loop. It writes a thought. What do I need right now? It takes an action. It calls a retrieval tool to pull exactly that, and nothing more. Back comes an observation. Then it thinks over again, this fresh result now in hand, and chooses pull more or stop. Thought, action, observation. So fetching stops being a stage that fires ahead of any thinking. It turns into a tool the assistant reaches for, deep inside its own reasoning, as many rounds as the job demands. That's the reversal completed. Classic RAG is a one-shot pipeline. Grab one time, then answer. This is a control loop. The deciding about what to fetch is folded into the reasoning and runs until enough is gathered. It's the shape production deep research systems are built on. And since each action pulls only what the live thought asks for, the working window stays slim the whole way through. No pile. No murky middle to vanish into. You might ask, why not let it think harder? Chain of thought, reason step by step, is powerful. But pure reasoning carries a failure mode. With nothing beyond itself to check against, an early misstep hardens into a confidently wrong conclusion. It can't fix a belief partway through. Watch the 2 run side by side. On the left, pure reasoning, an early step is off. And that mistake rides down the chain, each later step inheriting it, finishing certain and wrong, nothing concrete to weigh against. On the right, the loop. After a thought, it acts. It draws a real observation from an outside source, and the chain self-corrects. The faulty step is caught and healed by whatever came back. So fetching as you reason isn't only about a slim window. It doubles as a correctness mechanism. Each observation is a chance to be told you're wrong by something concrete before that step locks in. Here's the reframe that makes the loop possible. In a classic pipeline, the fetch fires a single time up front, and then the model writes over whatever that one grab returned. If the grab missed, no second look is coming. Promote fetching to a tool. Now it's one of the moves the assistant can choose to invoke. Partway through its thinking, anytime a thought wants evidence. It picks when to pull, what to pull, and whether one pull sufficed, then keeps going until it has. That choosing, lodged inside the reasoning, is what splits a pipeline from a loop. This is what people mean by agentic RAG, not grab once then generate, but an assistant calling the fetch tool over and over on its own judgment until the answer holds together. The held question, who wrote the paper behind the technique this library is built on? The very one that drowned across 40 docs. Watch the loop take it in 2 precise moves. Step 1, it works out that the technique comes first, so it acts, one search, and observes a clean result, the react pattern. Step 2, it thinks afresh. It now wants that paper's author, so it acts a second search and observes the answer, Yao and colleagues, the team who first introduced it. 2 fetches, each fired only when the thinking called for it, the window slim throughout. And you don't wire this loop by hand. The framework ships it. A built-in React agent calls the model, and if the reply asks for tool calls, it runs them, appends the results, and loops until none remain. The loop simply is the stop condition. Identical question, identical sources, opposite outcome. All that changed was when it read them. On demand, twice over, rather than everything at once, up front. That's one source plus a search tool. The same shape scales to a whole shelf of documents. Scale the idea to a real shelf of sources, say a stack of annual reports. The losing play is to concatenate all of them into one prompt. The winning play, wrap each source as its own queryable tool and let the assistant pick. Watch it choose. The framework exposes the same pattern as a React agent carrying one query engine tool per source. It works out which source answers the question, then opens, indexes, and queries just that one on demand inside a single tool call. The rest of the shelf stays shut, and a tool retriever means it needn't hold every tool on hand at once. It pulls the right tool, then the right evidence. Fetching all the way down. The shelf can be enormous. The window it genuinely reasons inside stays tiny. Here's where people overcorrect. They hear retrieve on demand and flip the whole thing lazy, nothing up front, pull everything at runtime, loop forever. That's a new way to be slow and wrong. 3 traps. Trap 1. Pulling at runtime is slower than having data prefetched, so the rule isn't pull everything lazily. It's a hybrid. Stage some context up front for speed, then let it gather the rest at its discretion. Trap 2. Piling on tool calls doesn't make it smarter. The biggest lever on the answer is what that opening fetch reads. A strong opener wraps the loop in a turn or two, a weak one churns. Trap 3. Lacking a hard stopping condition, a loop can reinvoke broken or redundant tools and run away, burning thousands of tokens for nothing. The remedy is a hard stop, paired with a strong opener that ends it in a turn or two. On demand isn't always loop, always lazy. It's a tool with a cost. Spend it where it pays, fence it in. So here's the rule that ties it together, and it's a fork, not a dogma. The loop carries a real cost. One run can chew through many multiples of the tokens a plain answer would. The question is never loop or don't in the abstract. It's, does this particular task earn it? For a plain single fact lookup, the loop isn't worth the overhead. One shot is cheaper and perfectly fine. The cost only pays off when the work is genuinely hard. One-shot answers tend to stall on complex jobs, and multi-step reasoning with tool use climbs past that ceiling to the reliability serious workflows demand. So, plain, answer it in one shot. Hard or uncertain, let it loop. The craft isn't always reaching for the loop. It's sensing which jobs deserve it. The entire pattern on a handful of cards, the symptom, an assistant that gets worse the more you cram in. The reframe. Don't front load, promote fetching to a tool it calls. The loop, react. Thought, action, observation, repeat until enough is gathered. The proof, 2 clean fetches beat 40 stuffed docs, and the framework ship the loop. The bounds, hybrid, strong opener, hard stop. Plain one shot, hard loop, don't fill the window. Fetch what you need when you need it. That's retrieve on demand, end to end. Don't fill the window. Fetch what you need when you need it. If this made the idea land, subscribe to AI Tech Book. Next up, on demand keeps the live window slim, but what survives across a long session? Compaction and memory.